Hello, Brigadiers and Brigadettes and hockey fans alike. This is your captain speaking. Welcome to my channel. Now let's jump into some hockey content. Hello everybody, happy Sunday. We obviously just recorded the Nashville video and you got to see that yesterday. So obviously continuing on with that, we're trying to churn all this out before January 13th. I think a few episodes ago I said December 13th, but January 13th before the season starts. So with that being said, we're going to kick it off and talk about the New Jersey Devils. And before I start this actually, I wanted to say, no, I don't hate your team. For any team regardless, but I think this is the video that could receive the most hate. This is just my take on it, and I think that most Devils fans would agree as long as they took the emotion out of it. So with that being said, do not come in the comments being spiteful. I trust that you understand that I'm just coming from my perspective. We can have a civil conversation in the comments if you have a disagreement. So with that being said, number one, will Jack Hughes bounce back? Everyone that follows the NHL knows who Jack Hughes is, and they know that last season was pretty disappointing. Hughes was selected first overall in the 2019 draft, and he did not perform the way that other players had who had been drafted before in the past few years that were top picks. Hughes ended up putting up 21 points in 61 games played, good for 0.34 points per game. Obviously, that's nothing you would get really excited about and say, wow, we have got a Matthews, McDavid, Eichel type guy, line A, for example. It wasn't the season that obviously Devils fans were dreaming of. Hughes didn't live up to the expectations. One example of this was he was expected to, in 61 games played, put up 13 goals. He only put up 7. On top of that, he wasn't a very good face-off guy, winning only about 36% of the face-offs he took. And to add insult to injury, Hughes really wasn't trusted on the defensive end, as only 43 of his 422 zone starts that weren't on the fly starts were in the defensive end. Obviously, we know that the younger players typically aren't trusted as much because their defensive aspects and their instincts to play defense aren't really there, aren't adapted for the NHL. But I'm not exactly sure that Hughes will ever have a major positive impact for the team defensively. From what I saw last year, it's probably going to take maybe a few years for him to get to be just not even negatively impacting the team. Who knows, maybe this year he could prove me wrong, but I don't think he's ever going to be a Selke candidate by any means or anything like that. I will say that there are some positives for Hughes. He's young, and he's still growing. He's 5'11", 170 pounds. I'm 5'11", and 180 pounds, and obviously I'm just this huge hulking figure. Not really. I know that obviously Hughes is in much better shape than I am, but think about it. I am obviously not morbidly obese or anything like that. And, you know, here I am, 180 pounds, I weigh more than Hughes. If he could just gain some muscle, I'm not talking about gaining 30 pounds, but if he could get to 185, 190, I really think that would work some wonders for him. Listen, all you gotta do is eat a lot, lift a lot. Now, not to the point where he'd lose his speed or anything like that, but obviously Hughes is a good transition player. He's probably going to be a guy that's one of the best transition players in the game. And I'm going to be honest, he did have some bad puck luck last year, so I expect his offensive numbers to look better. And like I said, I don't think that there's going to be a lot of improvement on the defensive side. I don't think he's going to be, as bad as Patrick Kane defensively, but he looks to get into the transition. He's not exactly the guy that's going to block a lot of shots, lay a lot of hits, get up on the boards, and try to gain possession of the puck. He's looking to get in transition and get back and try to score. So who knows, but I do think he will have a better year. Now, the second question is this blue line good enough to get the team into the playoffs already off the bat? I'm going to say no. I don't think it is. But let's go through why I don't think it is. Last year, the Devils finished 21st for shots allowed, 25th for scoring chances allowed, and 27th for goals against. Now, I know that's not all on the blue line. Goaltending, obviously, how the forwards play as well could be a part of it, but it still is concerning because there's some things I don't like about this team, especially for the top four of the blue line. What it comes down to with the top four is probably, I think the main concern I have here is PK Subban is on the first pairing, and his play has fallen off a cliff. His offensive game has just disappeared, and he's just taking more penalties than he's getting. He took 30 penalties last year, and he only drew 13. And on top of that, he's making $18 million not a year, $9 million a year. So $18 million over the next 2 years. Devils fans, tell me, how do you feel? how do you personally feel about having to pay PK Subban $18 million over 2 years? I would be irate. Obviously, PK may be able to figure out his game, but I'm not so sure. I don't think that he's going to be able to bounce back, at least to the extent where he's worth $9 million. At this point, it's a loss. I get where they were going, I guess, kind of, not really, when they traded for PK. I think with Hall and some of the moves they made, they thought they were going to be in a better position, but they weren't. Then you have Will Butcher. I apologize. Will Butcher is going to have to take on some more responsibility, as I can see his time on ice going up. But he's going to have to figure out his game again. Known for his offensive game, especially on the power play, it seems like his offense has vanished. Butcher has had his rookie year. He had 23 points on the power play in the 2017-18 season. And he managed to put up 1 point on the power play. I apologize, this is going to be so awful. He managed to put up 1 point on the power play. I know he played less time on the power play than he did normally the past 2 years, but he should have had more than 1 point. And if his production does not come up to the levels of the past 2 seasons before last year, he's going to lose even more time on the power play. Then you have Ryan Murray, who I've watched a lot of Ryan Murray. Good defensive player. His offensive production is spotty, and he's injury prone. I like Murray when he's healthy, but that's the tough thing. He's always hurt a little bit. He always misses 20, 25 games, something like that. I wouldn't really rely on Murray to be a top 4 member of your blue line. Yes, he can play a lot of minutes. The thing is, he's injured a lot. Now, if he can get past those injuries, I think it could be huge for the Devils, because I think he could be a big part of the top 4 for this team if they re-sign him. He's on a 1-year deal, so if things go well, they could try to re-sign him, and if not, they can walk away from it. So I did actually like that trade, getting Murray, but at the end of the day, with how it is right now, I'm just not convinced. Then you have Damon Severson. You have Damon Severson, who does a lot of things for the Devils. He's always playing a healthy amount on the power play. The PK, he logs over 20 minutes a game. He gives up a chunk of scoring chances and high danger chances, but he creates chances for himself. At the end of the day, though, I look at him and I look at their top 4, and they kind of give me the same thing. I look at both of them. I look at Severson, and I just say, it doesn't make me say, well. I look at these players, and I think, as well as Severson, they don't make me think dominant top 4, which is what he's going to probably be this year, as well as what he's been the past few years. Now, the third and final question, is Blackwood a franchise goalie? The Devils just signed Blackwood to a 3-year, $8.4 million extension, and GM Tom Fitzgerald seemed to have complete confidence in him. Fitzgerald stated, McKenzie is going to be one of the key young core pieces for this organization for a long time, and we are excited and extremely happy to have him under contract. He's obviously shown that he can be a number 1 goalie, and the sky is the limit for him. Now, Blackwood has played well during his time in his career, I'll give him that. And I think that this was the right move to make, because the term and the length of this contract, everything about this contract I liked, as long as he keeps up his production. Now, Blackwood's career stats are 32, 34, and 8 record, 2.72 goals against average, a .916 save percentage, and 5 shutouts. I'm not sure if Blackwood's a franchise goalie, though, just because we haven't seen enough games for me to make that decision. I like what I see so far. However, like I said, I do think he's a promising young player, and I think that he's playing on a team that's got some defensive issues. So by the end of his contract, I think we'll have a very, very good idea about what Mackenzie Blackwood looks like. However, for right now, it looks like, the Devils have got a lot of issues, but luckily they got Blackwood in net. They've got their number 1 starting goalie locked up in net. Let me know, Devils fans, do you guys feel like you are on the right path? I do think there's some good things about this team, but as of right now, this is not a team that screams playoffs, much less contenders by any means. Let me know what you think. Again, this is not a shot at your team. This is just from what I see looking at the Devils. Everybody have a great Sunday. I will see you whenever. I don't know. I'm so confused at this point with my notes. But anyway, I will see you soon. Please like and subscribe. You have a great day, and stay safe from COVID. Goodbye, Brigadiers and Brigadettes, and hockey fans in general. This is your captain signing off. Have a great week.